So our business is predominantly a project delivery business. At any one time, we've got about 40 odd projects going around the country. They range in size from, quite small up to the $1 billion scale at the other end. And it's a business that plays in predominantly two areas, so power and also transport. And we do a little bit of defence work as well, joined opportunities with Jacob's business that I'm sure he'll speak about. What makes us a little bit different to a lot of the tier one players is the internal engineering services capability that we have. So if we're looking at a power project, we can do end to end. So from project formation through to the engineering, through to delivery and hand off to maintenance, sometimes in Pat's area. That's all in-house for Downer, which is what's fantastic in this market because we're seeing a lot of demand on tier one designers in terms of them being able to deliver, being stretched. We can control all the pieces when we control that particular service offering. So it's fantastic for power, and we also have it in our rail business. So we have an internal rail systems engineering business that does rail signalling design, rail safety assurance, rail systems assurance. And that's also an important differentiator for securing a project because our customers in rail want to know that we've got this risk profile under control. We're not outsourcing it to anyone. We can manage it end to end. So it is a differentiator for us. And clearly we're one of Australia's largest and most experienced providers in the renewable energy market and power systems. On the right there, we've detailed our specific capabilities. So in power, we construct transmission lines, high voltage substations, solar farms, battery energy storage solutions, and wind balance of plant. In rail, everything from track construction to overhead wires, and of course the areas I mentioned around the rail systems assurance and signalling. We do road and bridge construction and adjacent markets such as water and defence as well. And again on the right, a little bit more detail on the specific engineering capability that we have in our business around that power, rail, water and systems engineering. I've got some good pictures at the bottom of some recent projects that we've completed and are ongoing. On the left-hand side, we've got our Parramatta light rail build. That's in the tail end of delivery now. We'll complete the infrastructure works in around June or July this year. So, it does demonstrate that light rail can be built in Sydney on time and on budget, and also, with COVID going on in the background. So it's quite a successful project by all accounts. Certainly Transport for New South Wales are very pleased with the efforts. Numurkah Solar Farm in the middle, a project we completed a few years ago. And we've got the Eyre Peninsula transmission line job that we're doing down in SA right at the moment. So I'll talk a bit more about power on the next few slides. So the pipeline, we've heard it today several times. I mean, in the areas that we play in the project business, they are absolutely massive pipelines. Power and renewables, we're talking about a $70 billion pipeline, of which specifically $40 billion is in transmission substations and also in battery energy storage solutions. Now that, I've heard a range of figures on the BESS, but suffice to say there needs to be $10 to $15 billion spent to facilitate the transition away from coal-fired power, just to deal with the demand curve. So that's an absolutely huge market for us. In the transport area, roads, rail and civil, this is a pipeline that just keeps on giving. A lot more infrastructure projects to come. Specifically, $40 billion of that is in rail. So again, sweet spots for our business. And on the right-hand side, it's another graphic that attempts to show funded projects. So again, very, very large. That's an infrastructure partnership slide. I'll let you look at that at your leisure. Importantly, on the bottom left, and picking up from Peter Tompkins' earlier discussion, and I did spend a bit of time last time I presented on this, but we do have a very defined project selection criteria, which we call internally the swim lanes. So it is around contracts that have the right commercial model, and clearly we favour alliance, cost recoverable, managing contractor type opportunities. Known customers are really important to us, and And again, with the size of the pipelines, we can really afford to be picky and choosy about who we want to work for. And importantly, we want to play to our strengths. So, you know, the capability and previous track record is very important for us in determining which opportunity to go for. This slide, I want to go a bit deeper here on power. So there is no transition without transmission. The current power network needs to be and is being significantly augmented to deal with the amount of renewables that need to come online. There's currently 45,000 kilometres of high voltage transmission currently in Australia, and just on that point, you know, understanding this was a very dormant space for a lot of years, so there is a lot of maintenance work and upgrade work that needs to happen on the existing network, and additionally 10,000 kilometres of new high voltage power transmission line to be built over 10 years. There's a $20 billion transition funding pot proposed by federal Labor that you would have seen in the press currently. And right now, the current industry capacity of 700 kilometres per year, and this is our estimation of what's available in the market, is clearly inadequate. So, you know, that presents a big opportunity. And as Grant said before, you know, that this isn't a flash in the pan idea for us to go and have a run at. I mean, Downer's got a 70-year heritage in Australia in power transmission. We are the clear market leader. Behind us, we've got UGL, and then there's a lot of space to the next players. So, you know, unlike the transport area where there's a plethora of tier 1, 2, 3 and 4 players, not so in power. And some of the reasons for that are, you know, it's a highly regulated environment. You know, you can't be anybody and go and play on a high voltage power transmission network. So it's heavily regulated, accreditations are needed, a range of competencies need to be demonstrated before you can go and play there. And fortunately for Downer, we have all those. So we really have an opportunity to pick through this market over the next few years. And that means premium margins. We're a trusted provider to all the major TNSPs, and some of which are on the board, and we're doing work with all of those TNSPs at the moment. And more broadly in power, it's not just in high voltage power transmission and substations. You know, we've built a lot of wind farms and a lot of solar farms over the years, so you know, we've got a lot of capability in that space, and also in the big battery space, a number of projects under our belt. Right now we're seeing the renewable energy zone outsourcing opportunity in New South Wales, and Downer will play in that space. Right now we've got Central West Arana, which is currently out in the market, and it'll be closely followed by New England and then potentially 2 or 3 more. So these are major opportunities and clearly a different delivery model being entertained by the New South Wales government. We expect that to be replicated in other states. Some of the major wins we've had in this particular market, SA Project Energy Connect, $200 million secured. That was the second major, you know, new build that's come to market, and the first one's on the right-hand side that we're in build right at the moment. We're going to complete that job in November, December of this year, so a fairly fast build. It's gone really well. We're ahead of schedule, and you know, great project for us for sure. So good space to be in. Graphic up here of a solar farm that we completed recently. So this is at Chichester, up in Western Australia. It was a project, our customer was Alinta, their customer is Fortescue Metals. So that was a mixed scope project for us, played to all our capabilities, 60 kilometres of transmission line, substations, plus a 60 megawatt output solar farm as well. So, you know, we expect to have more opportunities, and right now we're in negotiation with both Rio and BHP about similar projects. I mean, Rio's just made a recent announcement of introducing 1 gigawatt of this type of project to their particular network in WA. And they're a trusted customer of ours. We've worked for Rio for 5 years on the rail. Recent project up there, Ballarat Energy Storage System, BESS project completed in 2021. Grid connected, 30 megawatt. First standalone BESS installed in front of the meter and directly connected to the network. So it was a bit of a first. And since then, as we know, the BESS solutions have only got bigger. And as I mentioned before, many more of these projects needed around the country over the next few years for network stability. On transport, we have a big transport business. On the right-hand side, Warringah Freeway. It's a joint venture opportunity that we're currently into. That's a major piece of work just north of the Harbour Bridge. So it's an enabling project to connect the Western Harbour Tunnel and Beaches Link. Also Warn Ponds duplication and Alliance rail contract down in Victoria that we're currently preferred, and we're working towards contract execution by June. So another fantastic project for the team in rail. And then a defence project on the right-hand side at Williamtown that Jacob will talk to a little bit later in more detail. But the place that we want to play, and we do play, roads upgrades, metro rail systems, faster rail projects, transport access program. And that particular program, we've worked on 35 odd railway stations around Sydney over the last 6 years, putting in new lifts, DDA compliance, platform extensions, enabling works to give us a better transport network in New South Wales. And that's been a very profitable, ongoing and fantastic stream of work for the business. The picture up there, that's our Metronet project over in WA, which is a joint venture project with CPB. It's new rail in WA, so we've got 11 kilometres of new railway line down on the southern side, connecting Thornley and Coburn, and then a 17 kilometre new section of rail in the north, including 4 new stations, which enables Perth to continue its urbanisation in the north. Right, that's it. Short and sweet for me today. Happy to take questions later or catch me at the break. Thank you.